Carl Jung once wrote, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." And that quote, well, it really frames this entire story perfectly. We're about to dive into the life of psychologist Dr. Brian Lippincott to see how a man who felt fragmented into different parts actually used his own suffering as a kind of furnace to forge a unified self, and from that, a powerful theory for healing others. So, let's get into it. This right here is the key that unlocks everything we're about to talk about. A young Brian Lippincott heard this from his mentor, Brother Joseph, and it's a profound idea, and frankly, a kind of intimidating one, right? The idea that the deepest understanding of the human psyche doesn't just come from textbooks, but from facing our own pain head-on. This is really the heart of our explainer today.
So who is this man that comes out on the other side of all this suffering? Before we break him down into his component parts, let's just take a look at the finished product, the integrated professional who looks like he has it all figured out.
What you're looking at here, this represents order. This is the family flow model. It's a coherent, unified theory he developed, and it was published in a really respected journal of analytical psychology. It's all about balancing cohesion, alignment, autonomy, the work of a mature, thoughtful clinician. But, and this is the important part, the man who created this very ordered model began in absolute chaos.
And here's that chaos. We're pivoting from this polished, academic theory to a raw, childhood memory. This quote, it just reveals this deep well of loneliness in a young boy who saw himself in Tarzan, wondering why he was left in what felt like a wild, crazy place. That feeling of being abandoned, even when his parents were right there, that's the seed for everything that comes next.
So to survive this internal wilderness, he developed these distinct personas. A Jungian would call them archetypes. And these weren't just childhood games, not at all. They were these crucial psychic structures that actually helped him navigate his world. So let's meet them.
And here they are, the three primary forces that were really at play inside of him. First, you've got Tarzan, the ape man. That's the instinctual, feeling self. Then James Bond, the cool, rational, secret agent. And finally, the Cowboy, a persona of masculine dominance that he picked up in the rough-and-tumble world of his high school in Salinas. Three totally separate parts, all living inside one person.
Tarzan, he was first. He represents what Jungian typology calls extroverted feeling. It's a way of being that's really oriented outward, focused on connection, harmony, and, emotional expression. It's this fiery spirit, a soul that's connected to nature, to the body, to instinct. It's that feeling of being one with the trees, of pure, unfiltered experience. This is the primal self.
But having that much raw feeling, well, it can be pretty overwhelming, and it makes you vulnerable. So a new archetype had to emerge, the secret agent, James Bond. This was, for all intents and purposes, a defense mechanism, a sophisticated, rational persona, what Jungians call extroverted thinking, which is all about logic, order, and objective facts. It was designed to conceal and manage the fiery, emotional swings of Tarzan. He literally became a spy in his own life.
And this chart just lays out the core conflict perfectly, doesn't it? On one side, you have Tarzan, pure feeling, instinct, nature. And on the other, the spy, pure thinking, reason, concealment. This internal opposition is a classic psychological dynamic. It's basically a war between two really powerful parts of the self, and each one is trying to be in control.
Then the third piece of the puzzle fell into place, the Cowboy, born from his high school days playing football in Salinas. This was the external mask, the persona of masculine dominance. So now we've got the complete fragmented picture, the feeling ape man, the thinking spy, and the performing cowboy. The big question becomes, how do these parts ever become a whole man? Well, the answer, tragically, is through fire.
And this brings us to the central wound of his life, the event that completely shattered all those personas and forced him to confront something much, much deeper than just an internal conflict. He had to face a profound, formless void.
He met his wife, Linda, while they were both working with troubled youth. They fell in love, they built a family, a home, a shared professional life together. And then, life threw a brutal curveball. Linda passed away from brain cancer, leaving him with their 3 teenage children. The timeline here is so stark because the event itself was just that, a stark, unyielding reality.
This is how he described what came after. The pain was just so immense it created a void, an emptiness that had no shape, no limit.
And those archetypes, the spy, the ape, the cowboy, they were completely useless here. They just shattered. There was nothing left but this formless emptiness.
Now this is the crucial turning point. He didn't try to fill the void. He didn't run from it. He learned to hold it. He found a place for the emptiness, a place of stillness where he could just be with the pain. And that, right there, is the beginning of all true healing. Not conquering suffering, but integrating it.
So how in the world do you integrate something so devastating? He needed a map, right? A framework to understand what was happening to him, both inside with his archetypes and outside with his grief. And he found it in the work of Carl Jung.
The key concept here is something called individuation. Really, it's just the lifelong process of becoming who you truly are. It's not about being perfect, it's about being whole. It means taking all your separate parts, the light and the shadow, the conscious and the unconscious, the ape man and the spy, and integrating them all into a single, cohesive self.
Now, he didn't walk this path alone. Mentors just seemed to appear at these crucial moments. Professor Dragstead was the one who first saw the oxymoron in him, that wild man and the sophisticated agent living in the same body. Brother Joseph gave him the key, that suffering was the path, and a Jungian analyst named Wayne Dietloff gave him the clinical tools to actually engage with his own unconscious.
This was one of the hardest lessons he had to learn. To become whole, parts of your ego, they have to be sacrificed. The need to be seen as the tough cowboy or the clever spy, those personas had to be let go of to allow something more authentic, the true self with a capital S, to finally emerge.
Okay, so let's see how this all comes together. We've seen the fragmentation, we've seen the suffering, and we've seen the integration. The final step in this whole journey is transmutation, turning that very personal pain into a professional purpose.
And this is the pivot. The formless void that almost destroyed him became his greatest clinical tool. Because he had been there, because he knew exactly what that emptiness felt like, he could connect with young people in their own pain. His wound became the bridge to healing others. It's an incredible transformation.
And this brings us right back to the beginning, full circle. The personal journey through chaos leads back to this, an ordered, coherent theory published for the world to see. That family flow model isn't just some academic exercise, it's the hard-won wisdom from a life spent integrating fragmentation and suffering. So let's just recap the journey really quick. He started with these fragmented, warring archetypes inside him. Then, life threw him into the crucible of immense loss. Through the conscious, hard work of Jungian analysis and mentorship, he integrated those parts. And from that synthesis, he created both a unified self and a theory to help others do the exact same thing.
And in the end, the goal becomes something transcendent. It's not just about personal healing anymore. The integrated self, the ape, the spy, and the cowboy all working together now has a much larger purpose, to contribute something loving and healing back to the world.
So, we end by turning Brother Joseph's wisdom back to you. Jung's work is carried on by those who suffer. As future clinicians, as future psychologists, the question Dr. Lippincott's life asks of all of us is not if we will suffer, but how we will choose to integrate that suffering. How will your wounds inform your work?